everybody, or good morning. Welcome back to Pixie Woo. I am going to do my quick everyday makeup. I'm going to be late for a hairdressing appointment, so I have literally 30 minutes to get this filmed. So, yeah, this is the makeup that I wore in my last video, which was my products that I rebuy. So, yes, rather than go on, I'm going to get started, and this is going to be that makeup with that liner, because I really like that liner at the moment. I've already moisturised, haven't put my SPF on. I'm going to do that quickly. This is the Pravage City Smart SPF. Make sure that goes under my eyes as well. It's raining outside, it's miserable today. That's the thing with the weather at the moment. I thought it was going to be really nice weather, so I put like summery-ish clothes on, and then because it looked like it was nice, and then you turn around and it's raining. Doesn't want to make its mind up. I'm not going to use, how am I going to use a primer? I do love this primer. I'm going to pop a little bit of the VB primer on. Sorry, my necklace is making little jangly noises. I don't know what to do with my hair. So I've been testing a new foundation. So with the foundation, I can't tell you what the foundation is. It's one I've been testing, but it's embargoed, so I'm not allowed to say who it's by or what it is. So I'm just going to put it on, and you can tell me whether you think it's nice or not. I've worn it for 3... The fact that I'm even reusing it says that I obviously really like it. I've been using it for 3 days so far. Because my skin does different things on different days. Some days it's really nice and it works brilliantly, and other days it doesn't want to with a foundation, so that's why I like to try them for a while, so I can really be sure how it lasts. And obviously, and obviously if it is good, and I do really like it, which I do at the moment, then as soon as we're allowed to talk about it, I'll tell you. We'll talk about it. Oh, why do I keep hitting my elbow? God, that's annoying. I'm going to move this mirror more this way. Concealer, I've been using the Kevyn Aucoin concealer in Supernatural Concealer. Obviously I had my under eye fillers done, which you can go back and see the video of that if you want. It was only a couple of videos ago, and they're just settling in nicely now. And I'm going to use a Expert concealer brush just to work that in. Let's take that up there as well. So, sorry, I'm not even really talking you through it, but this is how I do my makeup daily. I'm just going through the motions because I forget that I'm actually filming. I get a tiny bit of redness on my chin, so I tend to take the concealer down there as well. Okay, let that work into my skin and move on to my brows. My brow pencil from my top faves, which is the Charlotte Tilbury brow pencil in Supermodel. Just a little bit, just to define the underneath of my brows. Now my brows have been microbladed, but without makeup on, they show up nicely. As soon as I put makeup on, they seem to, obviously because it's flat surface, there's no real hair there, they don't show quite as well as I'd like them to. So I tend to put a tiny run of pencil over the top, just so that they look slightly more done and defined. I'm so happy with my microblading, because I used to have to really sketch out the shape of my brows because I had none. Now the shape's kind of there, I just need to tweak the odd little bit. In with a little bit of Suqu Eyebrow Mascara in 01. I've just been and bought another one of these actually, since my last video where I said I rebuy it. I just like that it just grabs the hairs without putting too much product down. Almost, the brush is brilliant, almost grabs every single individual hair. Onto the eyes. I used this Charlotte Tilbury palette in the Sophisticate. I really like it. There's 4 colours in there. I used this one as the base. It was quite light colouring. Let me find a brush. Obviously, if you're darker than me, this might be a little bit light for you, but you can find one that's a bone colour, a colour that naturally suits you, or a skin colour, sorry, not bone colour. I haven't used eyeshadows for a really long time either, because I always opt for cream eyeshadows or cream shadows, cream sticks or cream paints, so it's really nice to actually use a powder for a change. I then took the slightly darker colour. It is the colour Enhance. Oh no, that's not called the colour Enhance, just says Prime, Enhance, Pop, Smoke. But it's number 2, which is the Enhance one, and I just ran that through the socket. I'm using a bold metals brush that just fits in the socket perfectly, and I'm letting the brush do the work for me. I like to take it in a bit further than I used to, so just in here. So it really makes that socket stand out. So this is adding a bit of depth. If you have a more hooded eye, then you're going to start from the lash line and work upwards. I have 2 eyes that are very different. This one is much smaller that way, so I have to drag it out a bit more. And this eye never blends as well here. It's very interesting. It's very annoying, but you get used to your face, don't you? I'm just going to take a black MAC eyeliner. This is in Squid. It's a modern twist Kajal. So I'm just going to take that in the top waterline before I start my liner. Now I'm going to use 2 black liners, well actually 3 with the Kajal as well. I'm going to start off with this Clinique black gel liner on a fine liner brush, and I'm just going to use that just to sideways drag along, just to get a little bit of the depth. I like the finish of these more than I do the pens. I think the pens sometimes look a little bit shiny, but I like to then pick up a pen to do all the sharp bits. Now the consistency, I've had this gel liner a while, but the consistency, hopefully you can see that, is kind of quite wet, quite moist. How many disgusting words can I say? But if you go for one that's too high or too dry, too hard or too dried out, it makes the liner really drag, and it doesn't feel as comfortable putting it on the eye. So if you're struggling, it might be that your liner is a little bit too hard. Now with this, I want to take it right the way to the end of my lash line, right the way to the end of my eye line or lash line, before I even start to think about flicking it up. Because this was the sort of, I was looking at Gigi Hadid and I thought, oh God, she's got such a lovely eye shape. And then I realised that when I do my liner, I flick it up before I get to the end, whereas actually with her, she takes it a little bit longer. So you can see I'm taking it a little bit further to where it's almost a bit uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable by feel, but I feel like I should stop and not go any further. The other thing I like about the gel liner is I can put it really close into the waterline, and whereas the pen ones sometimes kind of, what's the word for it? Bleed, that's the word. You know how the pen ones sometimes they kind of bleed through the eye and you see the little lines coming up, or on me anyway. With the gel I don't get that so bad, but I'm going to just put a Q-tip there just to make sure that that's dry, that area, because sometimes my eyes do water a lot. And it can really ruin my makeup. So check it's dry, and then I only want this just to softly kiss that inner corner. I don't want it thick or heavy. It's a very different liner if I do that. I'm then going to go in with my pen. I've got a Clinique one which I absolutely love, but I also bought a Stila one. The Stila one I'm going to try because it's new, so it should be more black. It should be more liquid, if that makes sense. So I'm using that just to get that slightly lower, slightly sharper flick. And the same the other side. Now this eye is slightly different, so I need to be looking straight into a mirror to do this, so that I can get it kind of similar. That's gone a little bit straight. I need to curl that up. Not a problem. I'm just going to get a Q-tip. I can use my own spit, it's fine. Just wouldn't do that on a customer or a client. And I'm just using that under there just to bring that round. Now, looking, I can see this one dips a tiny bit lower, so I can get a tiny bit more here. There you go. Right, now back into the eyeshadow. Same brush again, same palette. I'm just going to take the darker colour. And I'm going to pop that in there. But make sure I'm pulling that outwards as well. So yeah, I'm allowing that to follow the line of where my liner has gone now, which will make my eyes look that little bit bigger. Talking of eyes, anyone been watching Queer Eye? I've watched it all now. Love it, I love it. Took me a while to get into the first few. And I was like, oh my God. Now I follow them all on Instagram. So then, like I said, making sure we're pulling that along a bit more. Now, one thing I do, I'm going to have my hair done next. I don't know if I said that at the beginning of the video. Oh yeah, I did. I said I was in a rush. Now, I always like to do my makeup before I go and have my hair done, because you've got to stare at yourself in a mirror for so long and you just feel gross. Now, where for some reason, eyeshadow always sticks on my eye there. I don't know why. It's just the shape of my eye and it just doesn't seem to blend there. So I'm just getting my concealer brush just to soften that and help it blend a bit. I don't know why it does that. It's the side that I sleep on, maybe that's why. We have a really lovely brush that I love for doing the underneath of my eyes, but I don't have it here. Where is it? It's like a little accent brush, but I'm going to use the shading brush instead. And I'm just going to take that first colour that I used and just run that under the eye. Frames the eyes a bit more, doesn't it? Okay, mascara. YSL Volume Effect. These are the products from my makeup bag, so they might be products I use a lot. So you can now see where my eyes started to water in there, but the makeup hasn't moved because of the choice of liners that I used. Back into my skin to finish it off, I'm going to take a little bit of Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Retoucher in medium, and I just run that over the eye. I like the texture that this gives over the top of the concealer that I've already used, but I like to leave the concealer to kind of work into the skin first. Pick up my concealer brush again. This is in the colour 3. Now, I used to use the colour 2 because I liked it to be slightly lighter under the eye, but actually now I prefer it to be the same colour. I don't know why, I've just changed. I think it's because I see so many people with really light under eyes and it, you know, like lifted with tons of baking and whatnot, and it's put me off. Next, in with my Hourglass bronzer. Love, love, love. Same brush as I used for foundation, primer and SPF. Why bother dirtying another brush if you don't have to? Just means it would need to be cleaned more often. But we brought out a new quick brush cleaner, Real Techniques, that comes with a cloth. And it is brilliant. Like, it is, I've been waiting for it to come out for ages. I'm so pleased it's now available for everyone. So obviously I'm now putting the colour back into my skin. Now I'll go around the hairline. Although I'm going to have my hair dyed in a minute, so my hairline will be a bit darker for a couple of days. In with a little bit of Charlotte Tilbury Flawless powder, airbrush Flawless powder, and a setting brush. This I have gone in a colour lighter, so whereas my concealer is now a shade darker, my powder, I go for number 1 now rather than number 2. Bronzer is another Charlotte Tilbury product. Jeez, I use so much of her stuff. This is the Duo. I'm not sponsored by her, I just like it stuff. And I will also take the bronzer down the neck. This is a bronzer brush, I think. Blush brush. I'm I'm going to use that highlighter as well. I always put Hush over the top anyway, but I tend to use this just to start me off with a Real Technique setting brush. Hush cream colour base, just pushed with my ring finger over the top of the cheekbone. And then lastly, a little bit of Super Cindy. No lip liner. Oh, my stomach's going. And I go over my lips a little bit with this because I think you can get away with it if you haven't got a lip liner on. So it's just a slight bit over my lips and I really like it like that. It just looks a little bit fuller. You can pop a little bit of cream blusher on the apples of your cheeks if you wish to. I've got my Hourglass palette that has a cream highlighter on, so I might just on the top there. So this is the exact makeup that I had on the other day that I actually really love. I wore it to go into London and I felt nice. I felt all day, I felt like my makeup stayed well. I just kept putting the lipstick on when it was running out. The rest all stayed put, quite immaculate all day. And I just think it's a nice, easy, everyday makeup that you made an effort in, but you don't look like you're overly done up and overly glammed. You just look well put together, which I think is nice. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. And yeah, have a nice day. Take care. Leave me a comment. Let me know what video you want next. And we will do it for you. Take care.